Well, because we don't want to take up the whole episode with jokes, we want to get right to the news. We're going to go ahead and dive in because we've got a lot of stories that we want to bring to you today. The first one comes to us through our friends at NVIDIA. They've unveiled a new iteration of Grace Hopper, their CPU and GPU combo. The GH200 features an updated GPU component along with HBM3E based memory. That's pretty significant in its own right. However, there is a surprise lurking inside. Well, actually, there's not, because Intel and AMD have been left out of the GH200 in favor of NVIDIA focusing on their own ARM CPU platform. Stephen, is this a sign for the industry?
Well, I think it kind of is. Hello, wake up, ding dong, something's happening. Yeah, NVIDIA's Grace Hopper, if you don't know, is basically a really nice pre-built combo of NVIDIA's latest GPUs for AI processing, as well as CPU and high bandwidth memory. And it's designed for basically scale out distributed architectures. So this is not a GPU that you put in your computer. This is a pre-built solution that and combines CPU and GPU and memory and is designed so that all of these units can work together in sort of a seamless fabric. It is very, very cool. Now, what's interesting about it is that Intel and AMD, well, they were expecting to be part of this, and they've been part of the NVIDIA ecosystem for a long time. Well, they're not part of the NVIDIA ecosystem, of course. NVIDIA loves them. NVIDIA does a ton of work with Intel and AMD. And there are a lot of DGX and HGX systems and all that that use these NVIDIA GPUs with Intel and AMD processors. But NVIDIA kind of signaled something interesting a few years back when they introduced their own ARM chip. Well, guess what? That ARM chip called Grace, which is a 72-core ARM chip, has been paired with the latest GPU in the next generation Grace Hopper, and well, ain't no Intel inside. I think that that's an interesting signal because on the one hand, it shows that NVIDIA is, as expected, going in their own direction with their own devices. But there's another thing happening here, and that's that both Intel and AMD have been a little bit late to the party with these new CPUs. And the important aspect is that it's all about the PCIe. And if AMD didn't have a good CPU platform to support their GPUs, well, they made their own. Unfortunately, I think for Intel and AMD, once the cat's out of the bag on this, assuming that this thing works well, so it combines two of these Grace 72-core CPUs to get 144 ARM cores in there. Assuming this works well, and assuming that the result is a high-performance system, which we all expect it to be. I mean, it's got HBM3E, it's got a ton of memory, it's got a ton of bandwidth. I mean, this thing is killer. AMD might start asking themselves, or Intel, NVIDIA, sorry about that, NVIDIA might start asking themselves, what do we need AMD and Intel for anyway? And well, that would be a big news in the industry, wouldn't it? So we'll see what happens. But for now, the biggest, baddest, latest, greatest Grace Hopper doesn't have Intel or AMD inside.